welcome back to Milton Mo Junction. Following on from my last video, I've done a bit of tidying up from the weathering. For instance, there's a little spot of foliage there that you can see on the track where the ballast was blasted away, and I couldn't quite get the colour to match when I replaced it, so I decided to cover it up with greenery. Something I didn't mention on the last one, I had a bit of spray on the bottom of the sky there as it goes through, and it looked a right mess. It was brown frame dirt, but I managed to cover it up with white paint dabbed on as a cloud, sort of off-white paint. Really pleased with that. But and a few other little bits and pieces I've touched up on the way, but the main important thing I mentioned about this area here, never really been happy with it. Didn't know what to do with it. I didn't want to put buildings, too high buildings anyway, because they'd get in the way of uncoupling with the 3-link couplings of O-gauge on those two tracks. I didn't particularly want greenery and foliage, etc., because again, reaching over it gets knocked off and moved around. So I've thought I'm going to have some probably piles of ballast and perhaps some sort of grab or bucket crane or something like that to lift it out of the wagons. But this area where I've marked off, I'm thinking of making that concrete of some sort. Haven't quite decided what to do yet, whether to use card as I've done mainly on the other side with the depot, or to go with plaster and make a concrete base similar to what I've done at the car park on the other, at the end. So I'll sort of do a bit of preparation work and then make up mine later. So I'll see you shortly. Welcome back to Milton Mo Junction. As I mentioned briefly in the last video, this is the next thing I'm going to do. It's to change the surface area here to make it a concrete looking base. So the way I'm going to do that is with the plaster of Paris mix. It will make it a little bit lighter. This area is getting a bit dark. Made a bit of work for myself, but hope this is all going to look okay in the end. But the problem I've got is, as you can see, there's seams and joins, so if I just put plaster of Paris mix on there, I think some of the water and the mix will run through. So I need to do two things really. One is to make it quite thick, and the other is I thought about sealing the area that I just don't want the plaster of Paris to go down by gluing some silver paper, silver foil down. But the rest of it, I don't need to put matchsticks or anything to make an edge, because the foam that I already had down and this bit of board here, which is slightly raised, will act as the edges. So I'll continue and see how we get on. And if they're not exactly straight, I can always blur them anyway with greenery and some more of the cinders. So as I say, we'll continue and see how we get on. See you. Okay, then the next stage is complete. I've sealed all the cracks as best I can with silver foil, and I've given a layer of PVA over the whole lot to try and waterproof as much as possible. The next job, I'll let that dry and then try and do a thick mix of polyfiller to seal it for the first layer and see how much I need on it. Not sure I've got enough here, but what I'll do is I'll certainly seal it with the first sort of thin layer if I haven't got enough, but I'll come back to that later. See you in a while. Okay, carrying on. The preparation is now complete. The PVA is dry, hopefully it's all sealed, so we'll continue now with the plaster. I'll show you a little bit later. Okay, I've done all I can do for the moment. I made the classic mistake of not having enough plaster mix to finish the complete job. So I had a choice either to do half of it or to do what I've done now, which is cover everything in a pretty much half thickness layer. What that has done is it's sealed up all the possible places that anything can come through if I make it really wet. So my next, once this is dried, my next job is to get some more, but put it on really wet so it's almost self-leveling. Makes it easier to get it actually level. So I'll come back a bit later when I've done that. See you in a while. Okay, continuing with the concrete apron, I've done a bit more. What I've actually done so far is I've done the concrete in as you've seen, but I didn't have enough plaster, Woodland Scenics plaster, to fill it all in. So I did as much as I got, so I did a thin layer of it, and then I've had to top it up with ready mixed plaster. Whether it's the ready mixed plaster is not a particularly good one, but there's a lot of cracking, or whether it's because it's quite deep, I guess, but there's a bit of cracking. I've tried sanding it down and filling in the cracks, skimming the cracks, and they've reappeared as soon as the plaster's dried again. So I thought, well, okay, what I'll do is I'll leave the cracks in, and I'll do it as if the concrete's actually cracked. So I'll weather the holes, etc., and we'll see how that looks. I've got a lot of work more to do on this anyway. I've painted it with a Woodlands Scenics concrete colour. I've scratched in the expansion joints, and I've got, as I say, I've got to paint those for the wood that's probably put in the expansion joints, and do that. I've got to edge, I've got to weather the whole lot, including the cracks. I've got to make good the edges, blend in the edges all around, because they're not perfect straight edges, because I've had to do it within scenery that's already there. So I think the next stage is all the weathering, etc. are going to take a bit of time. So what I shall do, I shall end this video now and make a part 2 when I do a bit more. So hopefully I can make it look okay with the cracks. If not, part 2 may well be me ripping all this up and starting again from fresh. Hopefully not. So I'll leave it at that. So thanks for watching, and bye for now. Bye.